You are listening to Big Trouble in Little Podcast. And here are your hosts, Joe Dubs and Andy. Hello, Internet peeps, and welcome to another edition of Big Trouble in Little Podcast. I am Joe Dubs.
And I'm Andy.
I almost said Escape from Side Quest, but we're doing movies today.
Movie time.
Movie time, and we got Matt Damon in The Informant, and we'll get into that real soon. But let's see what the hell you've been watching, Andy. What have you been watching?
I didn't have a lot of time to watch movies except for the fact that I had a long cross-country flight. So on that flight, I watched the stupid seatback movies. Mm-hmm. So I watched Ready Player One, Won't You Be My Neighbor, and Rampage.
How was Ready Player One?
I liked it. It was fun. I mean, it was a fun movie. I wasn't, like, blown away or anything. And like everyone says, the most entertaining part of it is, like, you know, the references. It's like, the guy's like, I choose the form of Gundam. And I was like, yeah, Gundam, awesome. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the DeLorean from Back to the Future and the Iron Giant and Tracer from Overwatch. You know, it's fun spotting stuff in it that you recognize. That's the fun part. The story's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I believe, though, that it, you know, squeezing it down to 2 hours or however long it might have hurt it a little bit. Because I know it's based on a book. But yeah, it was fun. I liked it enough.
Yeah, I heard it discredited from the book, like usual. Like all movies do. They never go by what the book says.
I mean, I get it, I guess. They're two different things. Mm-hmm. But then I watched, on the plane ride back, I watched two movies back to back that do not match in tone at all. Won't You Be My Neighbor is a documentary about Mr. Rogers and Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. And Rampage was that stupid Dwayne Johnson movie about the arcade video game where there's a giant ape, lizard, and wolfman destroying cities.
Yeah, how you said stupid or silly?
Which one? Rampage?
Yeah.
It's pretty. I don't know. It's exactly what it's supposed to be, sure, but I thought it was a pretty dumb movie.
And it's a Rock movie, too. That's pretty rare these days to say that The Rock was in the stupid movie. But, I didn't watch a lot of stuff because I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man, obviously, and since I finished the game. And just haven't been watching movies in general. I need to get back on that track again. But I watched a fan-made movie of Friday the 13th. It's called Never Hike Alone. I don't know if you ever saw that, Andy.
Nope.
It's on YouTube. It's a quick hour movie. It's about guy who has like a YouTube video and he's doing like videos on how to like be in shape or something, or you know, hiking, and he comes across Crystal Lake and you see like all the memorabilia from the movies that were at Crystal Lake. You see the cabins and stuff, and then all of a sudden Jason comes out of nowhere, obviously, and starts to like try to kill him and everything. And there's like a real good surprise at the end because there's an old character from Crystal Lake from the movies. So
that's interesting.
It's really well shot. The acting was pretty good, actually. I mean, there was only a total of like 5 actors if you're counting Jason, and Jason does get demasked in this movie, and he looks pretty fucked up. I think this is pretty you know, good than the being demasked in the old Friday the 13th movies. Made him really look fucked up. But other than that, I really haven't been watching anything else. Trying trying to think really quickly. I didn't watch any anime. My friends are trying to get me into JoJo. You ever hear that anime?
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah. They've been like sending me clips, and there was one clip that made me laugh where he has binoculars and they shoot the binoculars out of his hand, and he's like, "Son of a bitch!"
Everything in that show is larger than life and life or death, and just it's hilarious. I love the tone of that show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna activate my Crunchyroll so I can watch it. Let's get into the movie really quickly. So, The Informant. I watched it last night, literally when I came home from work, which was like 12 a.m. You know, I had my dinner and I went into it. And the first thing I want to get out of the way is Matt Damon in this movie comes out with a lot of good facts. Like it starts off with corn, then it starts off with like different ties and that he wears and all that stuff. I thought that was pretty hilarious and out of the blue, and you kind of see these random facts that he throws out and how fast he talks on the reason what happens in the movie. To quickly give like a synopsis a little bit, Matt Damon's character, which I think was Mark, right?
I think so.
Mark Whitmere, I think.
Whitacre or something like that.
Yeah. He's part of this cornstarch like company, AMD or something. AMD, like the the processor, but not the processor. They have like a plant called lysine, which is like an amino acid that is in your cornstarch in like every meal possible. Like there's a scene where Joel McHale's character is eating granola bars and he's like, "Oh, cornstarch."
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. And pretty much a virus is in the lysine, which is a bug, and Matt Damon goes to the bosses or the chain of command and says, "We need to fix this" and all that stuff. And then he starts like throwing. To me, it felt like it was out of nowhere. He's like, "Oh, the Japanese, they've been talking to me and all that stuff." And then the FBI just got involved, and Matt Damon says, "I think there is, funny business going on, like price fixing." So he works with the FBI and pretty much tries to take over the company.
Yeah.
And
they get the FBI involved because supposedly there's a saboteur, and the Japanese are ransoming the name of the saboteur and a cure for this virus that they have and the stuff they're trying to make. And the FBI gets involved, which he isn't all about, and it becomes clear why, because they're engaged in price fixing, which is illegal business practice the world around. They're price fixing with their competitors in Japan, Korea, Germany, wherever else, and they're having meetings and stuff about it. So he confesses to the FBI about it, and I like the one scene where the guy's like, "Oh, what's this guy's story? Why is he just coming straight to the FBI with this? He's got to be doing something wrong." And they're like, "No, he's a good man. Here's a picture of his family, and we carry it to remind ourselves that he's doing this to help you because he's a good man." And then, the first half of the movie concludes, and then you start realizing little by little that maybe he's not such a great man.
And here's what the film does really, really well. In the beginning, when Matt Damon's character, when he starts like lying, he's like, "I kind of lied about that part." You kind of go, "Well, why did you lie? They're the FBI." And how the character covers it up. He's like, "Well, this guy told me to do this. That's why I did that." And the FBI goes, the boss is telling him what to do and stuff, and maybe that's why he did it, and they go along with it. And then it just gets outrageous where, at a point where he's extorting money, and he's like, "I had about like 500 grand. and then 500 grand turned to a million, and then a million turned into 9 million. And in the end, which I thought was hilarious. Uh, I know I'm jumping around, and this is spoilers. Like I said, when we do these movie reviews, we usually spoil the shit out of it. But at the end, he's locked up in jail, and he's doing like a parole video, I guess, to the president. I don't I don't know why they would do it to the president. Maybe because he was extorting money, I guess.
Well, no, the president can pardon anyone in the justice system. So I guess it's a popular thing if you're a high enough profile criminal to ask the president specifically to pardon you because it's the most immediate way to get out.
Mm-hmm. And Joe McHale's character is, saying goodbye before he, heads out, and he's like, "Man, $11 million for that severance," and Matt Damon just walks away, and he's like, "Wait a second, 11 million? What do you mean? I thought it was 9 million." And he's like, "Oh, with the interest and everything." And what was the deal? Did he have like a mental problem? Was it the bipolar, or did he have multiple personalities, or was
I
he just?
thought that was bullshit. I was under the impression that he had cooked it up to try to not go to jail, so he could be like, "Oh, the stress of working undercover for the FBI ruined me, and I snapped, and now I have bipolar disorder." Because remember, he doctors that paper from
Mm.
the psychiatrist that says he has bipolar disorder, and the guy says the area code and the phone number's wrong.
So I guess he was just a habitual liar, an impulsive liar, I guess. Or was he just a person that was fascinated with himself? Because during, when they're telling him, don't say anything, he's talking to like reporters, he's talking to
Oh yeah,
like,
he's an idiot.
yeah,
He like there are several times watching the movie where he goes, "Oh, you fucking idiot," because he keeps talking. Don't talk to the FBI. Okay, well, don't talk to the company lawyers. Okay, well, don't talk to anyone else. Don't talk. Then his lawyers tell him not to tell anyone. So he goes back and talks to the FBI.
mm-hmm.
He's telling people at the company that there's a raid coming. He's telling. He told his wife everything. He told his neighbor that he was Agent 0014. He told all this other stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Real dummy.
I hated when he got angry at Brian, the FBI agent. I'm like, why are you getting angry? He's, you're the one that went to him telling him all this shit, and now you're just like, especially when he backs out, when he says, everything's changed, like everything's good now. I was like, you just can't say there's a crime and everything is good now. The crime happened. You told the FBI. The FBI knows the investigation is going to happen no matter what, and you're going to be in the investigation. And it wasn't that I was pissed off about it. I was like, why? Why are you doing this? Backing out deal, and then yelling at him by saying, I had to tell this guy, I had to tell my secretary because I didn't want him to get hurt. I'm like, I guess he was being a genuine good man, or he was being conniving in a way, kind of like stirring the pot just so that he could steal all this money. I like how he also made it look like Brian kidnapped him. he like tore
Yeah.
he tore off his jacket and like messed up his glasses, and he came in there. I mean, he also told on the news that the FBI kidnapped him. And I
I
like,
thought he said the company kidnapped him because they told him don't talk about anything that's not on the tapes or whatever.
no, he said that Brian said to destroy the tapes, because he kept on referring to Agent Shepard as Brian. He's like, I don't know if I should call him Brian or Bry. I don't know
You
if
might
Brian.
try out Bry. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you like about the film?
I really like the fact that it could have been a completely different movie if they had just like changed a few things with the way it looks and the music. It could have been like a serious thriller or something like that. It could have been a drama about this guy destroying his life. But no, it's got like a weird comedic whimsy to it and the guy comes off as oblivious, but he's still somehow embezzling millions of dollars, and I don't know. It's just it's funny to watch in a way that it's hard to describe. It's a funny movie in an unexpected way.
Mm-hmm. I think another good scene is when the company finds out that he forged a signature, and he went to the Department of Justice, and you just see all their mouths just open, like he forged his signature and he stole money from the company, and they're like, "Wow, our case is fucked now." I'm trying to think what else I liked about the film. What'd you hate about the film?
Um, Hate.
Or just like
Some of the supporting acting was kind of weak, I guess. It's just kind of there. They just filled a role.
a lot of comedians, yeah, Oswald, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
Patton Oswalt was in it briefly.
the guy from Arrested Development, the one who was always obsessed with his mother. I forgot his name. He was the lawyer.
Oh yeah, the Kurgan was in this movie too.
Yeah. um,
I don't know the actor's name. I just know he was the Kurgan in Highlight.
yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I mean, yeah, the supporting actors weren't that great. Ginger, the wife. I, the thing about the
Oh, and
movie.
of course, Brian is Scott Bakula, which was really surprising.
Mm-hmm.
He's still a good actor somehow.
Yeah. But what really like had me thinking in the beginning of the movie when Ginger was like, when the FBI started coming to the house and stuff, she's like, "I'm gonna tell them if you don't." And I thought that was gonna be the premise of the show, where he's just gonna be hiding this one information, and it was actually gonna be a big deal. But it ended up being, that there's price fixing, and he's been telling, obviously the wife everything, and probably lied to the wife at some point because he's just a fucking compulsive liar. And you could tell he's a liar because how fast he talks and stuff. He's a good fast talker, and he knows how to use the information to make it believable. And that's how he strings along the FBI. Do you think he purposely strung along the FBI, or he was just caught up on all his lies that he thought it was true and just didn't think that he committed a crime by stealing the money?
I wonder that too, because the way they talk about it, he used the fact that the FBI was investigating and they were looking at this price fixing thing as kind of cover and an excuse to start embezzling money.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the embezzlement was something that was like, oh, situationally, I guess I can do this now, so I'll do that. But I think also he was just the kind of guy who was going to figure out a way to do that kind of stuff. Like he was still complacent in price fixing before the FBI started getting involved and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really his fault that the FBI got involved at all because he lied about there being a saboteur, probably.
Yeah. And I like that he was like, yeah, I stole 9 million, but they stole hundreds of million. They're the bad guys. Like, no, both of you are bad guys.
I like that they're like, these people are robbing everyone in America before they finish breakfast or something.
Yeah.
Because corn is in everything.
Yeah, and at some point, like, even the FBI starts using that as defense with their bosses and stuff, because the bosses are like, "We're fucked now. There is no more with him. You're against him now." And he's like, "We would have never, found out about the price fixing if he didn't tell us everything," which is true in a way. Like, I think they ended up prosecuting some of the people in AMD. Like, I saw the son of the owner got like 3 to 7 years or something like that. And then I guess Matt Damon's character got released at the end because I saw him coming out of prison and walking with his wife.
Yeah, he gets out.
And then he opens up his own business, and he's like COO or something like
No,
that.
yeah, he's chief operating officer of some other company, Cypress, something.
That's pretty like another company hiring him, and I mean maybe they're just doing that for publicity because he was national news, correct?
As far as I can tell, I mean, maybe it's more like he's still business savvy and they're going to watch him real close or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that he became a boss. I just I, I, here's my final thoughts on the movie. Um, it's funny because of the stuff that is said in this movie. Obviously, who the guy from Quantum Leap? What's his name?
Scott Bakula?
Yeah, he was great in this film, and
Yeah,
just
he was excellent.
yeah, just him being like dumbfounded on what Matt Damon character was saying, and every time he lied. Like if somebody lied to me that much, I'd probably be pissed off, and they were pissed off, but they just wanted the information because of the shit that was going on. But this film was really good to watch, and it was like a train wreck that kept on. You knew it was gonna happen, and all the stuff was piling up, and then the train wreck happened, and it was enjoyable. So I recommend this film. Andy, what is your final take?
Yeah, I guess I recommend it as well. Like, it didn't blow me away or anything, but it is, like I said, it's very surprising the way it presents itself. Because I was kind of expecting it to be a pretty humdrum, serious affair. Like, I didn't realize at the time that Steven Soderbergh directed it. I think if I'd have seen that, I'd been a little prone to go into it. But yeah, it's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, this movie came out in 2009, and I was like, "Wait, is it really?" I was like, "I thought I saw this like trailer come out in 2014 at least." Nope, 2009. So that was surprising. I was like, "Oh, really? Okay." Andy, what is the movie of the week that we're gonna be watching the next episode of Big Trouble Little Podcast?
Um, I was playing with a couple of different ideas, but since it's October, it's got to be a spooky movie.
Mm-hmm.
So how about Return of the Living Dead on Amazon? It has zombies in it. Those are pretty spooky.
Mm-hmm. And it's a George Romero film, right? Correct?
I don't think so.
Oh, because I thought he would trademark the Living Dead or something like that. Be like, I'm the
No,
only one to make these films.
I mean, there's Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah. Was that on Netflix or Amazon Prime?
Amazon.
Yeah. So everybody, get on your Amazon Prime, watch Return of the Living Dead, and get back to us on the next episode of Big Trouble Little Podcast. Let's get into some news that matter to us. So I searched the web and I found three movies and then three links that we could talk.
I put movie news into my Google search box.
Did you find anything or?
Yeah, not really. I was going to talk about that Joker thing, but you got it.
Mm-hmm. So Toy Story 4 is happening. I totally forgot this was a thing.
Yeah, I remembered. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. And apparently Tim Allen couldn't even get through the last scene in his movie. And this is the quotes that he said. He said, "It's so emotional. It's so funny. It's so big idea what they've come up with. I'm startled. Toy Story 3 was, I thought, amazing. This, I couldn't even get through the last scene. A couple of the scenes toward the end were really hard to get through," Allen said. And that kind of sucks because something sad is going to happen and you're going to cry.
Yeah, I just about cried in Toy Story 3, so I can't imagine what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. And Tim Allen couldn't even get through the last scenes. I mean, oh man. um. Yeah. What scene did you cry in Toy Story 3? Was it when they were all holding hands in the furnace?
Yeah, it's the part where everyone almost cried or did cry. Pixar does a good job of like having emotions in movies. I always point to the first 15 minutes of Up as being more emotional than most full movies.
Mm-hmm.
Without dialogue, too. There's no dialogue in the first, like, 15 minutes of Up. It's just, well, there is when they're kids, but then it shows them living their lives together and the wife dying, and it, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
just rends you in half.
Yeah. That almost every Pixar movie made me cry. So that tells you something. All right, onto other to me disappointing news, because she's not been really doing well with the Star Wars franchise, but her Kathleen Kennedy's deal got extended for 3 years. And I think the only reason why it got extended for 3 years is because she greenlit the Rian Johnson trilogy, and maybe that's what she's gonna be doing. But yeah, Solo didn't do really well under her watch. People could say that people were protesting because of The Last Jedi, and that's why it failed. I thought Solo was an okay movie. It was great to watch. It was entertaining, but
Yeah, it was a good movie. It's good enough.
there was a lot of flaws to the movie. You could tell that because of the new director and the reshoots that they had to do, and they kind of set themselves up for failure, because when they did that, they upped the budget to 250 million, and they did not succeed in getting that back. So Bob Iger, which is the president of Disney, I believe he said that they were going to slow down on these side films.
They did. That's for real. They put a hold on all the ones that were in production presently. There was they were trying to do like a new Star Wars movie every goddamn year. It was going to be like a numbered one, a side one, a side one, and no one's really sure what the state of the hypothetical like Obi-Wan movie, Boba Fett movie, whatever that they were working on, because they were in various stages of concept, writing, casting, whatever. They're still obviously going to do the numbered stuff, and I didn't know if the Rian Johnson trilogy was in jeopardy or not, because of all the kickback from Last Jedi, but I don't know. They might have already signed some contracts, so that might be locked in or something. I'm kind of surprised they extended it, but the more I think about it, I guess I get it, because who's going to know the ins and outs of that complicated horseshit that I just said better than the person who perpetrated most of it?
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, I think pretty much because she was the main reason why Rian Johnson got a trilogy, I would think she would have to be at the helm rather than get a new person in there. But I think she's probably going to be on a short leash, where pretty much if the next Star Wars movie does fail, they might go, I don't know. I mean, this is not looking good. Maybe two movies at least. Maybe when episode 9 happens, episode 9, people are going to see it because it's the last one of this trilogy. And even if you did hate The Last Jedi, you're going to want to see it out through anyway. That's how I look at it. I mean, some people might be spiteful and not see it, or maybe wait until it comes out onto DVD. But I always like to see things through before I make an opinion. Because J.J. Abrams did pretty well with Force Awakens, and he could possibly do well with Episode 9. Yeah, you don't need Star Wars every year. That's how you burn out a community. Just you could still milk Star Wars, but you could do it like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, that would be a lot better, I think. I mean, a side movie is fine, but don't force it or whatever. I think a big part of the reason too why they stuck with Kennedy is she has the mentality that they want over Star Wars. Like if they put someone else there that was more, I don't know. There would be different attitudes to take with it, and they just want Star Wars to make money. That's why they're every other year we're going to release around a holiday, Christmas, or Christmas is the Christmas season, or Labor Day or something. They need to make sure there's lots of new merchandise that we can sell from these movies, and keep all the directors on, to steal the phrase from you, a super short leash, because I mean look at what happened with the directors for Solo. Look at what happened with, a couple of like the director for um, 9 has changed, and a couple of. I'm pretty sure that they needed someone who was going to breathe down the necks of everyone making these Star Wars movies, so they make them just right, because they saw what Marvel Studios did, and they said, "Oh, we're going to do that, but with Star Wars." And it isn't working the way they want it to, but I think they want her there because she's going to try to continue making it work. They're going to figure out how to turn this into a Star Wars movie factory, which isn't what the fans want, but who cares what they want?
Mm-hmm. I think it would be great to maybe focus on those TV shows until these trilogy movies come out, and maybe throw in the Obi-Wans and the Boba Fett's, like I would say every 2 years, and build up that hype a little bit. Show that hey, we're coming out with an Obi-Wan, and hopefully Ewan McGregor is gonna be Obi-Wan, and you like bounty hunters. Well, here's Boba Fett. I really don't get why that would be a theater movie, though. I think a Boba Fett movie would be great for like a Netflix or something like that, or their own Disney streaming thing. Because
by the time it would come out, that would be the same.
Because here's my thing: is like Boba Fett, cool. He's a bounty hunter, and he was only in a few scenes in like Empire Strikes Back, and he ends up dying, right?
Yeah.
So, do you really need backstory on Boba Fett? I mean, I believe he's a clone of a clone, the clone's father, right? I forgot the fucking father's name.
Django.
Django. There you go, Django Fett. I don't know. I think soon we're gonna get a fucking Chewbacca movie at some point. Which obviously there has to be a person that is gonna be in English doing the part, because you can't just have Chewbacca and a bunch of Wookiees.
Yeah, subtitles. I'll watch a subtitle movie.
That would be hilarious. Just a whole fucking Wookiee movie and it's just subtitles. All right, moving on from Kathleen Kennedy to Joaquin Phoenix. So they did a test teaser trailer and put emphasis on the test, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is an actual teaser." And I'm like, "Nah, there's tests in there. I mean, things could change on how he looks and stuff, because they want to show what he might be in the movie." And there was few photos of Joaquin Phoenix without his makeup on, the makeup of Joker, and I was like, it's a little weird. It's a little like 70s look to it. Did you get?
Yeah.
You got that vibe?
The wardrobe, yeah.
And then finally, they came out with this video, and he's staring. He's starting to laugh at the camera, and then obviously that's when they show the makeup on him, and it looks like clown makeup. It doesn't look like the iconic Joker makeup where it's just like all white, and it has like a spin to it, sort of say. There's like blue like designs on his eyes. He also paints the red like eyebrows and stuff. It's a little weird, but what'd you think of it?
I've seen a lot of people giving their hot takes on Facebook and stuff about this, and everyone seems to be like, "Okay, I guess I'll wait and see. I'll wait and see," which is weird. Since when does the internet want to wait and see about this stuff? I figured everyone would explode. Here's my take on it. I have nothing but faith in Joaquin Phoenix. I think it'll turn out really well.
Mm-hmm.
But my knee-jerk reaction to this specific test is boredom. Like, I hate to say it, but the thing about the Joker is that he's supposed to be, larger than life and crazy and bombastic and stuff like that. And this doesn't say that at all. But it's supposed to be like, kind of what I got out of it is maybe he's like just getting into crime, and like that's his stupid persona that he chooses is some dumb clown makeup, and then something happens, he falls into a vat of chemicals, base chemicals or whatever, and that turns him into the actual Joker that we know. So it's kind of forgivable that it is unmiraculous. But if that's what they went with for the whole movie, I'd be really. I don't think that's what they.
Yeah, I think, and apparently, like Batman's not going to be in this film, obviously, because they don't meet until after, or well, they do meet before he gets into the chemical thing,
Tradition.
because he was Red Hood. Uh, which I hope they kind of go with that storyline too, that he becomes Red Hood. But I don't think they're gonna do that. I have no faith in WB anymore in live action films.
Nope.
So like, I like Joaquin Phoenix. I think he could be a good Joker. I think he's obviously going to be a better Joker than Jared Leto. Um, but with WB at the helm, you know that they're gonna try to throw in there uh, a lot of Bruce Wayne, a lot of lore that's not gonna make any sense at all because WB doesn't know how to do lore really well. And the final form is pretty much gonna be when he becomes Joker, and they'll possibly try to milk this out where there's gonna be another Joaquin Phoenix movie. And apparently, this is not part of the DCU.
God,
So
it's so complicated already.
yeah, so I don't get why you're gonna have an origin story about the Joker because apparently they're making another Jared Leto movie with Jared Leto and uh, what's fucking God damn it, Harley Quinn. There you go.
Uh,
And it's pretty much gonna be like a love story between Joker and Harley Quinn. So you're
that's
gonna
dumb.
so you're gonna have two fucking Joker movies happening with two different actors playing the Joker.
I mean, if I got to choose, I'd choose the Joaquin Phoenix one because he's the best. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I mean, maybe it'll be. I just hope they make a good movie. That's kind of good, I guess. That movie, the DCU, or yeah, the DC cinematic universe. That's the word. I kept almost saying animated universe, but
They should just stick
so
to animated.
yeah, they should because all their animated stuff's really good. But maybe they'll just make a good movie. That would be that'd be fantastic. But I don't know. Their track record is such trash now.
I think I think it's gonna be a great movie because of Joaquin Phoenix, and
Yeah.
it's gonna turn out well. But at the same time, it's like, well, why are you making this film? If it's not gonna be any part of like the DCU, and you're doing an origin story, what's the point? Unless there is a secret plan going on where they reboot the DCU, and this is how they do it with Joker, which is weird. Um, I would be down if this is part of a big plan. If it's not part of a big plan, I guess it's a good one-off of Joaquin Phoenix being a Joker. And the Joker is an interesting character. I do you really want to know about the origin of the Joker? Like, is that a thing?
I mean, I've seen the origin of the Joker like 5 fucking times. They show it. They show it in the Tim Burton movie. They show it in the animated series. They show it in the comics, obviously, in more than one.
He can.
It's almost like the laughable idea that they could show the Spider-Man origin story. Which, thank God, when they did Homecoming and stuff, they said, "Okay, everyone knows who Spider-Man is. We don't do that shit anymore."
Mhm.
It's like it's such a part of the public consciousness culture wise, at least in the United States. I understand these movies are marketed worldwide, so maybe that's where this falls apart. But it's just so laughable that they want to do a story that has already been told so many times.
Mhm. And if I remember right, the Tim Burton movie, they had Jack Nicholson Joker kill Bruce Wayne's parents, correct?
Yeah,
And they did that in the comics too, right? The Joker killed the
not
parents.
originally, but I think there is some version of the comics where they did make that mistake. I don't know the comics that well. Excuse me, that well.
Well, if I remember correctly in the comics, like the Joker's origin story was that he was Red Hood pretty much committing crime and Batman came across him and then that's when the chemical thing happened
Yeah.
and out came the Joker. And to me that's a good origin story. Like you don't need to go further in his past because obviously by looking at this film and that he was anti-establishment and he loved chaos. So in this film, you're gonna see that he's kind of like an Antifa, clown gang, and he's just disrupting the establishment. And obviously, you see it in the Dark Knight where he's robbing banks with his clown posse. So I don't know. I
As
like
long as
it.
he's motivated by crime. I mean, yeah, I get the fact that the chaos thing is what everyone sticks with now because of. I mean, The Dark Knight was admittingly a masterpiece, was really, but I mean, he's still a gangster. That's why part of me has always kind of liked the Jack Nicholson version better because he had, he was still motivated by petty stuff like woman or money or something like that. But then it was more terrifying because he's now unhinged and all this other stuff.
Yeah, and
Plus, I almost forgot the other reason I have some faith in this movie. And again, producers sometimes don't do it just to put money in and then like get on a couple conference calls and say, okay, is everything going on schedule? But Martin Scorsese's money is in this movie, so maybe that'll help him. Maybe he'll come by and say, no, this is retarded. Let's make a good movie instead, or something.
maybe he brought Joaquin Phoenix. Maybe he recommended him.
It's not impossible.
Joaquin Phoenix, like his career path was like it's pretty weird, but in a good way. Like I always remember him from Signs. Like that's the first movie I ever saw him in with Mel Gibson, M Night Shyamalan movie. Uh, and then obviously Walk the Line was a good movie. And then the movie Her, which I think got an Academy Award, if I believe.
I think it did, yes.
Yeah. And now, and that other movie that we fucking watched, the cop movie, he was pretty good in that too. I don't know. He's such a well-rounded actor. So
He's a very good actor. That's why, like, when I saw it was him, because at first I was like, having old Marty Scorsese involved made me at least interested, but my faith was still low, and it still kind of is low. That's Warner Brothers.
mm-hmm.
But when they cast him, I said, oh, maybe they're serious. Maybe they will make a good movie. Because, it would have been easy for them to cast someone. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix has a lot of star power. A lot of people love him, but it would have been easier for them to cast like a prettier. I mean, he's pretty too. I don't know what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of like safer bets that they could have got, but instead they went with someone who's pretty safe and pretty good actor instead of just, oh, he's pretty. We're gonna have to hire an acting coach because this guy actually sucks.
Mm-hmm. And I think the last scene in this film will probably be him murdering Bruce Wayne's parents. I really think that's where they're gonna go. I think they're gonna go. Oh my god, there's Bruce Wayne's parents. Boom.
Yeah, but then that would make Joker like what, like in his 50s or 60s when he's fighting Batman later.
Yeah. Are they doing like a time difference? Are they trying to keep up with the 2018?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. The implication would be weird.
Yeah, I guess we'll wait until more information comes out about this. I mean, I'm interested because of Joaquin Phoenix, so I'll possibly see it. Not day one in the theaters, but probably like week 2 or 3.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all the news. Really, I mean, the other news: Dark Phoenix. Apparently, the X-Men movie is getting delayed. I possibly think because of the deal with Disney might be one of the reasons.
X-Men.
It's very true, man. Yeah. Next week we're gonna be doing Escape from SideQuest, so that's gonna be our video game podcast. But again, obviously, Return of the Living Dead is gonna be on the next Big Trouble Little podcast, remember to watch it and then come here and listen to our thoughts about it, and then maybe give your thoughts in the Podbean or YouTube comments section. So we want to hear your opinions about these movies.
Or just tweet us, or MySpace us, Instagram us, carrier pigeon.
Yeah, let's MySpace. I actually found my profile. I have my old pictures on there.
Yeah, I never had a MySpace. I skipped that one. I got dragged into Facebook, kind of kicking and screaming. The very first post on my Facebook page, I actually found it recently, like because it's like, oh, your memories on Facebook. The very first post ever was one of my best friends being like, "You finally got Facebook, you antisocial jerk face." The very first post on my Facebook.
I actually didn't like MySpace because every time I went on somebody's profile, they put like music in the background, and it's not like music that you can mute. It's in HTML and it's embedded in the background. And every time I went to somebody's profile, like fucking music just started blasting. I remember because I had my speakers on my computer because I didn't have headphones yet. And every time I clicked on somebody's profile, like fucking rap music just fucking started blaring.
As soon as you click on it, the logo goes, "Crawl."
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, social media is stupid. It's the worst thing that ever came out of humanity.
I mean, maybe like anthrax or nuclear weapons is up there.
Yeah, it's actually really up there. Like there's, diseases, viruses, nuclear bombs, war, social media.
What's that chemical weapon the Russians made that the amount that goes on a pinhead can kill you? It's like VX or something.
Yeah, it's like social media is literally under that right there.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it was above social media.
Yeah. Social media would never be above those things because obviously those things, kill. But social media is there too. It's up there. It kills people. Remember to follow us on Podbean, which is B.T.I.L.P.podbean.com. There's gonna be some changes in the future, guys. Like you're gonna see new formats. You might actually see a rebrand in the Podbean because we have two different podcasts. I want to make it easier instead of just going like Big Trouble podcast and be like, oh, there's another podcast in here called Escape from SideQuest. So I want to come up with probably a fancy schmancy name for it. And I'm also working on a website where it's going to be like a gaming community and just like a nerd community where we could all hang out. And that's where our podcast will probably be hosted on. Yeah, I think that's the end of the show. You got anything else to say, Andy? Anything projects you're working on?
Oh yeah, I do. Well, this is video game related. It's not related, but whatever. As an aside, I'm going to set up a schedule. I'm going to stream all of Police Knots. I've mentioned it before, but I got everything working, like hooked up like it's supposed to be. So, Police Knots was a Japanese only release from Hideo Kojima, and his games are basically movies anyway. So there, I timed it.
Do you have a date or just in the near future?
I was looking at Fridays. If it's going to work yet.
Okay.
So I don't know. Find me the Cliche Mustache on Twitch, or I think my Twitter handle is just Cliche Mustache. I'll finalize plans probably in the coming week.
Okay, cool. Until next time, guys. Later.
Thanks for listening.